Good morning and welcome to Rising. We've got just another great show for you today. I am joined by Chris Cillizza for the first time I've been hosting with
I know. This is my second time ever, but first time with you.
So it's fun.
I know. We're excited. I'm thrilled to do this.
It's really the joy of Rising that I get to meet so many interesting new people.
I thank you for calling me interesting and new. Very few people call me that. I'll take both. How are you?
I am doing just fine. Fine. Ready to get to the news.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It feels later than Wednesday.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why, because it's summer. My kids are, like, out of school, which is actually more of a problem, interestingly enough.
You're like,
we have to entertain
send them back to school.
You have to entertain them. They're like, well, what are we doing now? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to the golf course again. Like, they just want to be entertained full time. Don't have kids, but kids are...
Maybe someday.
It's an adventure. All right, Robbie, what's on your radar? Let's do it.
Let's get to it. War with Iran is unfortunately brewing as President Donald Trump has now given every public indication that he is willing to follow Israel's lead and embroil the U.S. in another Middle East conflict. Critics of that notion on both the right and the left contend that a war of choice against Iran is a violation of the America First ethos and would break a fundamental campaign promise. Trump told voters no new wars when he ran for president again. Many people in the MAGA coalition are expecting him to stick to that. But if there's going to be a war with Iran, it is essential that the matter be discussed, debated, and voted on by our Congress. Iran is a sovereign nation with its own government, which means only Congress has the power to declare war on it. Look, this isn't some terrorist group already dubiously covered under the decades-old use of fourth authorization for the global war on terror. War with Iran would require new, unique authorization. And this would be an offensive war because Iran has not attacked the U.S. Not directly. Again, that's something only Congress can approve. Our founders gave Congress, not the president, Congress, sole authority to declare war. It is the president's job to carry out a war, to conduct its military operation once Congress has signed off. That's how it worked in World War II, for instance. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, President Roosevelt asked Congress to vote to declare war, and all of them did so. If war with Iran is such a great idea, well, then members of Congress should be eager to vote for it. Let them be on the record supporting it. Not with tweets, but with votes. Make them actually do something instead of just talking, prattling endlessly on social media and TV. The need for Congress to act is not lost, thankfully, on Republican Representative Thomas Massie. He was put forth, along with Democratic Representative Ro Khanna, a War Powers Resolution Act that affirmatively states the U.S. government is not authorized to conduct a war against Iran. Now, I am happy to see that many left-leaning Democratic representatives, including AOC, have endorsed this motion, which just basically reaffirms what's already written in the Constitution. The president cannot go to war without Congress. Bipartisanship, by the way, so often applauded by the mainstream media when bipartisanship is accomplishing something bad. Mainstream elites love to applaud squishy rhino Republicans for joining with liberal Democrats to raise spending or increase regulation or save a government program. That's the kind of bipartisanship the media loves. What they don't like so much is the bipartisanship that sometimes happens at the outer edges of the left and the right, when figures like Thomas Massie and AOC come together and say, wait a minute, let's not rush headfirst into another war without thinking this through and checking in with whether the citizens of America want that. Yet I expect most people much prefer this kind of bipartisanship. I certainly do. As for Trump joining Israel and attacking Iran, I would like to remind our president that 10 years ago, when he first appeared on the political scene, he became super popular, not with the elites, but with the rank and file Republicans, because he dared to say that party leadership, that the Republican president, George W. Bush, they were all wrong about Iraq. Here's a refresher, one of the debates in the 2016 election cycle.
The war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake, all right? Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. They lied. Okay. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
Now, you can say Iran and Iraq are different countries, and the circumstances are different, and that is true. If Iran hawks want to make their case, look, they have the floor. But you have to convince the American people. And regardless, Congress has to do its job, even if they don't want to, which seems to always be the case these days. So it's very simple. We should debate this in the halls of Congress like our founders intended and let them vote.
I was nodding the whole time.
I saw you.
They have my nodding camera, me off camera. Yes, no, totally. Look, I'm old, so I'm 49. I remember this debate happens. Every president, bipartisan, doesn't want to go to Congress to get an authorization of use of military force. I mean, it is, I feel like Tim Kaine, ever since he's been in the Senate, has been like banging the drum of like, why are we not doing this? And every time they're like, well, it's not exactly a military, we're just going in for a little while.
Right.
You know, like, it's ridiculous. And, you know, I would add, Robbie, like, this is, whether you like Donald Trump or you don't like Donald Trump, the reality of Donald Trump's first, 5.5 months as president is rapid and radical expansion of executive power.
Yes.
This is another case of that. And Congress, Republicans in Congress, in leadership, being like, okay, so I guess we're getting rid of USAID. Oh, okay, well, I guess we're getting rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Oh, so the Department of Education gone. Again, in the Constitution.
All of those things I support, but Congress needs to act.
This is my point.
I agree with you.
Look, when you have a Republican majority in the House and Senate and you have a Republican president, Republicans should do conservative things. Yeah. That's why we have two parties in this country. But when you abrogate the processes that are in place, you set a tremendously dangerous precedent. I mean, I don't know how you don't draw that conclusion.
I don't know what you do with a government. We talk about the crisis of democracy. What do you do in the situation where Congress, where your chief lawmaking body, has simply no interest, for the most part, in doing their job? It's not like they're all out there protesting the loss of their authority and power. They seem, for the most part, happy to have it taken from them so they can spend more time being pundits on television and on social media.
Raising money, raising their.
That's all they want to do.
And it's
endless committee hearings.
The incentive structure is all screwed up.
Yeah.
But again, I always cite, and I'll cite one on both sides. Like if you had to name 5 of the most that not people like us, but normal people would know. Name 5 members of Congress the average person would know. I'm not sure they get to 5, but I guarantee you, in the first 5 are Marjorie Taylor Greene and Ilhan Omar. And a lot of people would probably say Matt Gaetz too, even though he's not in Congress anymore. Well, none of those people do anything in Congress. Mm-hmm. They just bang the drum and, raise money, go on TV. And that's part of the problem. But what's amazing to me is that they're not even trying. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, you are ceding. It is a co-equal branch of government. It's right there in the Constitution. I remember, again, I'm old enough to remember the old, after 94, the pocket constitutions that everyone was carrying.
Oh, my people.
That's right in your wheelhouse.
My people. And even with Iraq, there was a vote taken. There was a debate had.
And it mattered. I wrote this down, right? So go back.
It mattered for Hillary Clinton.
I was going to say, if Hillary Clinton does not vote for the war in Iraq, she almost certainly beats Barack Obama.
For sure.
The only logical explanation for Obama's candidacy, right, because he had just been elected, I was right in the beginning. I saw that video of him saying, I oppose the war. He's at a rally in Chicago or something. Yep. They played that. That was his sort of lever to get in the race. If she doesn't vote for it, it doesn't happen.
I was a student. I was at an undergraduate at the University of Michigan at the time. And he was beloved for that reason. A lot of other reasons too, but that was the main reason.
But that was the spark. And I think people don't remember that. That was the spark that got this all started.
No wonder they don't want to be on the record.
Exactly.
Voting one way or the other.
They don't want to be on the record. All right. Anyway, next up, President Trump's one big beautiful bill. OBBB, is it in jeopardy? Republicans are clashing over it, and voters don't seem too hot on it either.